Ooh, he's
I
recording.
feel like my shtick should be Craig is recording. I
Craig
feel like
is
he's
now
gonna say that
recording,
every single
guys.
time. Can we get sponsored by Craig?
I wish we could. However, he is a free prophet.
Yeah, man.
That sounds pretty fake.
Alrighty, so yeah, would you guys like to just dive right into the politics so that we have no chance of monetization ever?
Yeah, let's just go straight
Do
in
it.
for it. You
Yep.
know, fuck it.
Excellent. Okay. So something I found rather interesting recently, Donald Trump's comments over the past few days have been rather authoritarian bent um, over the coronavirus. He wants to open up the country again,
And he's sort of explained this as not a states' rights issue, as though he just has kingship ruling over everything that goes on in the country, and it's a little bit worrying. On the other side of things, Joe Biden has said that he wants to force banks to hand out loans to small businesses that they can't pay back. So what do y'all think? How far do you think this is going to go?
So
the
Zavery,
the bank
you can go first.
the bank part is so stupid. I disagree with it. The reason we got stimulus checks for a reason. It's supposed to help to some sort, but I mean, at the same time, I also get it because there's no way that they could get business. Like, for example, small restaurants that only have dine-in, they have zero income right now due to this thing. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's going to hurt our economy even worse than it already is being impacted.
Okay. So on that, I actually think both the stimulus checks and this loan idea are fucking dumb.
Okay.
Primarily because they shouldn't be taking the money out to begin with. But because they are taking the money out, I guess the stimulus check is fine. The loan, on the other hand, is already crossing about 4 of my boundaries for federal government. One of those
Right.
being impeding or trespassing, in my words, on business grounds. So just like I don't think they should over-regulate, I also don't think they should have any hand in small business payouts. I think that's a stupid thing.
Yeah.
I also am going to explain a little bit more on the Trump situation. So
Okay.
Trump wants to open the nation, but he doesn't want to open the states. The states, he wants the states to stay closed if they want to stay closed, or open if they want to open. He is letting that just stay with the states' decision and opinion. He just wants to open the nation back up so that the federal government can go back to trading and doing what we're normally supposed to be doing.
Do you think that's a good idea, though?
I mean, the ships are still moving, so no matter what, it doesn't matter. No matter where they dock, it's going to be very, very spreading, I guess. So, I mean, no matter what, it's going to spread. So you might as well just go ahead and make the most profit that you can within reason.
I get that, yeah.
So what do y'all think about Trump's comments saying that he said the president can essentially just do whatever he wants?
I mean, in a way, he's not wrong, but we haven't heard a president say that in our whole nation's existence. We haven't.
That's a lie.
Really?
I don't know if he's lying so much as wrong, Aaron.
Who said that? Who?
Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln said it. I
What did they
mean,
say?
not in the same words, but he did, paraphrase for that. Hell, even Franklin did it. Franklin didn't say it, he just fucking did it.
I don't know. See, I'm not worried about the coronavirus. I don't think that's really a threat. What I'm worried about more is the authoritarian wing of both the Republicans and the Democrats just eating this up.
Well, yes. So just like last time, this is going to go into a bit of a conspiracy part. So just
That's fine.
the same thing as like Bill Gates causing this. I think The Democratic and Republican parties are both teamed up with Gates to pull in as much control over the nation as they can,
Okay.
because they are the same fucking party. No matter what they think they are, they're the same party. They go after the same thing, they fight over the same things, and no matter what the decisions that they make, as in bills, they are still doing the same thing, causing the government to go into more debt, causing the civilians to go into more debt, and starting useless wars. So no matter what, they're the same fucking party, and
And
no
that's what
matter
we call a
what,
rabbit trail.
they're
Um,
they're doing the same thing.
oh yeah, love that, Aaron. That's what we call off topic.
It's okay. We're fine. We're doing great here. It doesn't matter.
Oh yes, absolutely.
By the way, is
Okay.
anyone timing?
Yeah, I've got
Okay,
I've got
good
a
job.
timer going down from 50 minutes, so we're good. Xavier, you put a thing in there. The question, will we ever get rid of terrorism? Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit?
So the reason why I brought this up is because, for example, ISIS has existed our entire lives, really. Not adults. I'm talking about teenagers. Us. We've always known about ISIS impacting America in some way. For example, 9/11, Afghanistan.
That's Al Qaeda, but oh yeah.
Oh, same fucking thing. But deep down, I don't believe that we're never going to get rid of terrorism, because people have very different beliefs than us in general. For example, they're like, "Oh, if I kill myself, I'm going to get was it 76 virgins in heaven?" It was
72.
something. 72, yeah.
Don't get that wrong.
Oh, my bad. 4 off.
Bigoted prick.
Actually, no, that is something that they will fight you over.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
In our religion, not in America's main religion, Christianity, if you kill yourself, it's a sin. You're going straight to hell. But I believe that it's never going to happen, because people are naturally wicked and evil. It's inherited by the culture and religion. Not that specific religion, but it could pass down from any other religion. It's kind of my saying things about terrorism. Yeah, what do you guys think about it?
Very well put. I don't know. You can't kill an idea.
Yeah.
You can get rid of coronavirus for the most part, but you can't kill the idea that all other religions should die and the world should burn, which is part of the religions that most terrorist groups ascribe to. And so, I mean, you're probably right. We can't get rid of terrorism, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't fight it.
Yeah. Aaron?
So, not sure I should go actually on this one.
No, you should absolutely go on this one. It'll be the most entertaining point of the entire podcast.
Okay, fine. I think anyone with any sort of theology that goes against basic human rights. So, for example, the Muslims, at least traditional Muslim, like to think of their religion, themselves really, as God's people and the only way. And so
Sounds
I
familiar.
think I think to circumvent the violence that spurs, you need to get rid of that kind of ideology. And as David has said, you can't kill the idea. You don't need to kill the idea. You need to kill the people.
Okay, and no. Oh man. Here's the issue with that, Aaron. One, you're advocating for genocide, and two, you can kill all the people, but the idea survives. That's the problem. Is that ideas don't die.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. I already agreed with you. Ideas don't die. Look at Nazism, for example. However, you can minimize the impact that that ideology has.
True. We haven't really seen it in the past few years since everyone was like, "Oh, it's kind of bad to, massacre a whole religion,"
See, that's okay. So I'm not advocating for the massacre of the whole religion. I
Yeah.
do think that, like, especially neo-Muslims, I don't know why they still consider themselves Muslims, but they do. They don't advocate the violence that traditional Muslims do. So I don't have a problem with the neo-Muslims. I have
Yeah.
a problem with those traditional ones that think they're better than everything else
I have the problem
and would
with
destroy.
the religion itself. I don't think I don't think most of them really ascribe to it. I think they're born into it and they're raised in it and they're indoctrinated. I don't really have a problem with individuals within the religion. I think they cannot. I think for the most part, if you were to get people in one-on-one conversations and they were to be in America surrounded by this culture, I don't think they would continue on the war path. The idea is what's dangerous.
Yeah.
And Aaron no longer exists.
Well, I'm gonna keep on going off this topic.
Yeah,
I did
that's fair.
you're gonna remember this, David. I did a LD topic over it was artificial intelligence. Yeah, it was last year
Okay.
about how artificial intelligence is it good or bad, and I argued both parts for debate. And
Because
one of
that's how
my
debate works, of course.
yeah yeah one of my values a value is a main argument in a case if people didn't know what debate was. My value was intrinsic diabolism, which means natural wickedness.
Right.
So it's all about morals in this situation. For example, if I disagree with you because I'm not saying this personally, but if let's say I'm as not inspired like Aaron for the American way, and I saw a Muslim,
Oh, so he is still here. You just decided
I
to go silent. That's okay.
I would think of that person as diabolistic, naturally evil because of their beliefs and what they've done to my culture. And it's always going to play a role because people are naturally selfish. If you would give $1,000 to a person and you had the chance to keep it, would you keep it? It's really all about morals, really. And so, yeah.
Wait, so what was the point in that whole spiel?
It's all about morals and how people are naturally evil and wicked.
Oh, okay.
So what you're saying is we don't get rid of terrorism because people have different morals and they always will.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, but I think there's also a difference between terrorism and regime warfare. So, for example, if China was to start a war, that's a regime warfare. They're still considered, a violent group, but they're not a terrorist group. They have an actual form of government and are
Yeah,
recognized.
unless of course they release a virus across the entire world or something.
Okay,
That could be something.
that's still not terrorism in my books. That's still just, chemical warfare.
Like that's just how war goes.
I mean, well, genuinely, I mean, like, look at the Germans and mustard gas in World War One. All right, it's normal.
But
That's
David,
not the problem.
it's not the Chinese regime that's doing it. It's
You heard it here
Bill
first,
Gates.
guys. Aaron does not see the coronavirus as a problem.
It is not. It is just an obstacle we need to jump over and keep running.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all you do is just run. It's like, I run 15 miles a day. It's not hard.
It's not.
Oh, I hate you so much.
All right,
All right,
I'm
Aaron.
gonna go.
Well, leading into that, into the Xavier's next point on this little outline here, should military service be mandatory?
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one, Xavier. I don't care if you want to explain on this one.
Oh no, you're
I'm
good.
gonna.
Go
I
ahead.
got
I
the
know you're
mantle.
That's okay. You
inspired.
always overpower
Inspired.
everyone anyway.
I love you, Xavier. So should military service be mandatory? I am kind of conflicted on this point because I think the military service instills a lot of respect and trust and honesty in each individual, whether they be a man or a woman. That being said, I also think it tramples on the natural rights, that we are secured through the Bill of Rights. And so it kind of tramples on the individual freedom, but also could enhance the lifestyle of everyone in the country. And so, as the libertarian, I'm like, fuck no. As the societal perfectionist, yes, absolutely. So I don't know. I'm conflicted on it.
Societal perfectionism. That sounds a lot like Nazi Germany. I don't know. I'm a straight no on this one. From the libertarian perspective, it's an absolute no. The thing is that people don't have the same values. On the slightly comedic end of things, if you throw a larger than life lesbian into the military, he, she, z is not going to make it.
Yeah.
It won't do any good for them. So
What just happened? Well,
is everything technically sound?
okay, I don't know what happened there, but we're good now.
Okay, that's fine. People have different values. The military is not for everyone, and I don't think everyone should go into the military. Just, I mean, personally speaking. So yeah, no, absolutely not.
I'm gonna go with Aaron on this part. It's hard to pick a point because I feel like in certain situations it must be mandatory. For example, the draft. I don't see the draft as a bad thing. All right. For example, taught a lot of people how to just sacrifice. Really.
That's not sacrifice. That's mandatory.
That's
Mandatory murder is what that
You
is.
want to know what? My grandpa fought hard.
that's okay.
But I think in certain situations I don't know. I feel like it should be mandatory for the people that are able to do this.
Okay,
Go into the military. It's not
So let me ask you this then, right? As someone who has been battling figuring out what the hell they're gonna do out of high school,
Yep.
would you be the person who would willingly be told to go into the military instead of just choosing to?
if I didn't already want to go into the military because part of me wants to, but if I wasn't, then I probably wouldn't. No, but if we were at war with, let's say, China or some shit for giving us the disease, I would. Yeah, I would. I would say fuck it, dude. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, well, so that's this is an
Do you
example.
think the federal government has the right to force millions of people into military service?
I mean, they did. No, nothing stopping them.
Actually,
But should they be able to?
everything should be stopping them. Anyways, back to what I was pointing out before I was interrupted. What you described with if we were at war with China, you would. That is called wartime culture, and is actually kind of a plague because it causes more death than it actually should. Because you have a lot of people who, for whatever reason, can't go into the military, and so they end up killing themselves or killing other people because they go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Or you have people who go in and don't realize what they're getting into and end up getting either themselves, their company, or just, whoever they're around killed. Some
Yeah.
people go nuts because they're not prepared for it and they kill everyone they can in boot camp, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, Full Metal Alchemist. Wow, that's not the right thing. Full Metal Jacket is a great example of this because the first half of the movie really shows what what has happened in basic. I mean, now it's nothing like this, but in that time period where the draft was an actual thing, it fucking destroyed people. Like, people were not mentally capable for it. And so you would be forcing a bunch of people who can't handle it to try to handle it, and you would cause more death than the war actually deserved.
See, yeah, I agree on that part. That's why I'm kind of like I'm leaning towards the no, it shouldn't force it side, but there's still a small part of me that's like maybe. I can't put it into words. It's just some things like that in certain situations, as you said, the draft. I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
Alrighty, Aaron, I believe your topic is next. It says students suing colleges for their money back. Would you like to elaborate?
So I'm looking at the article right now from CBS News, and it's saying that a Liberty University student is suing the college because they're not allowed on the campus to receive their schooling, and so they would prefer to get their money
Interesting.
back.
uh,
Now, here's my problem with this, right? They're still getting the schooling, whether it be
yeah,
traditional or not, so they can eat a dick. They're paying for it, and if they want that schooling, they better own up to the circumstances that's going on, and I don't know, be flexible with the colleges because they don't have any choice in what's going on. It's the
yeah,
states, so I don't think it should be a lawsuit. I don't think it should be in the legal hands of the government.
yeah. I agree on that part. They're still getting the education, just another form of it online, not in
So
person.
essentially, this student is suing the university because they can't stand being quarantined.
Essentially, yes. They can't stand the online classes, and
Okay.
oh, they're also mad because they can't do the activities that they paid for. Now, I agree that shouldn't be a lawsuit, though. That should just be a refund. Um,
Right.
but activities are different from the actual classes, and they're wanting to get a full refund and not just the activities.
Yeah, no, that's
Right.
idiotic.
I mean, I can kind of understand it. I know a couple of colleges. There's someone I've heard of personally that they're back home because of the coronavirus, but Texas Tech University is still charging them for housing and food and their classes and everything, even though they can't participate in those activities. So I'm hoping that universities will give some sort of refund or reimbursement for the fact that students are not able to participate in what they're paying for.
I think it's a shitty part for that situation, especially because if you're not using the services, you shouldn't be paying for it. Like if you have the
Yeah,
Right.
option, obviously cancel it. If you don't have the option, you should, especially in these uncertain times where we've never had this kind of problem in a new societal kind of merit that we have. So I think everyone, every company, every entity should be very flexible with both their clientele and their consumers, I guess. Um, in general, I think it's a shitty thing to do if you're not giving the services that you're supposed to be giving. If you pay for activities from a college, the college should at least refund those activities.
Right.
There should be no legal ramification for it. It should just be something that's
Yeah. I
done.
mean, the main problem that's happening right now is that most of those are through contracts.
yeah,
So when I did my housing agreement, it's like that's a 9-month contract that I'm obligated to pay whether or not I live in the dorm.
See, the other problem, though, right, is besides the contracts that they have to fulfill, you also have the fact that the schools are getting paid from the federal grants than they are anything else, and so the colleges don't technically have the money to refund because they don't get paid until the end of the year.
Right.
see, I this is the one thing that I think should happen in this situation. Sure, I think they should cancel payments on housing and just housing really because they're not there, they're physically not doing it. For example, you said the if they don't use the services, why even pay for it? They're
Right.
not there in person. They have no reason to pay for that. But I do get they should pay for the online classes because they're still learning from a professor,
Right.
still getting the education that they wanted to get, and they shouldn't be crying just because, oh, I can't sit by Rebecca today and talk about this cute boy. It's they need to not cry so much, honestly.
No, I mean, universities should be working with their students to help make sure that everything is financially stable both for the student and the university. But as far as the kid suing Liberty University for not having the bowling alley open, probably no.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a dumb, stupid thing that people who don't understand the basics of economics are trying to do. To move on,
All right, so you
um,
wanted to talk about the iPhone SE.
yes, because
Is this the new iPhone that's coming out?
yes, this is the second generation iPhone SE, also known as the Special Edition.
Yeah.
Now this stupid thing is obviously it's not as powerful as the iPhone 11, like Max, or the iPhone 12 is going to be.
Mhm.
That being said, it is a very cost-effective phone. It includes the A13 Bionic, a 4.7-inch Retina HD with Touch ID inside of it. Now this is, of course, starting at a $400 price tag, which is cheap as hell compared to the rest of the iPhone series.
Yeah.
Right.
It is supposed to be boasting a high definition front and back camera, and is a IP67 water and dust rating. It can stand
not
up
bad.
to a meter for 30 minutes.
Huh.
I just
Okay.
felt like I should share because I know a lot of you iPhone lovers, for whatever
A lot of you two people. Yep.
reason, a lot of you people love iPhones, and I despise anything over $500 that considers itself an iPhone.
Right.
And so this is
So
a
you
great
despise the
compromise.
entire lineup. Yep. No, I like it. I think it's a great option. I know some people who are still holding onto their iPhone 6 that need to upgrade, and this is probably a good option for them.
More than likely. I mean, personally, Android, but whatever.
See, I'm looking at a picture right now of it, and
It looks like an iPhone 7, doesn't it?
it has a
does.
home
It looks a
screen.
lot like an iPhone
That's the
7.
one thing that I'm noticing. It has a home screen, and not a home screen, a home button.
Home button, right?
Yeah, it's a
That
lightweight phone.
I get that, yeah, but
It's very
there's
iPhone 7-ish. I would love to compare it
yeah,
We'll see. I've got one in
to
my
the
drawer right
specs.
now.
An iPhone
just
7.
that home button.
Yeah.
That home button's throwing me off.
So it looks actually identical to the iPhone 7. So
Interesting.
there's that. I think the only difference would actually be the specs inside of it.
Which assume they're better than the iPhone 7.
Yeah, it actually supports more actual like software wise, but it does not boast the same chipset because it's the i13 Bionic chipset instead of their normal Snapcons, I think.
Right.
So it's going to run a bit differently. It might run slower. I don't quite know the speeds because it's not released. But it does support 4K, so it has to have a decent chipset as bare bones.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the current iPhone 7 price. This is on Verizon's website because Apple doesn't have it on theirs anymore. It's $350 compared to the new SE's 400. So I mean, depending on how much better it is, I'd say the SE is a pretty good purchase.
Yeah. It's only like $100 upgrade, really, from the iPhone 7.
Yeah, it's not bad. It looks like you can also get donations. Like when you so I say donations, when you buy the phone, it looks like a portion of whatever of however much they sell goes to COVID-19 and HIV and AIDS testing, preventions, and vaccines.
Right. The HIV and AIDS thing is just for product red, I believe, though. That's how it's been in previous generations.
Okay, let me hang on. There's a whole section down here about it. Okay, no, red is for all three of them, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, there
So
you go.
if you buy the black or white one, does that go to a specific one, or does it go to?
No,
what does
those
it
are
go to?
just those are
I think they're all just all lumped in.
Oh, okay.
That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we used 30 minutes. I assume, Aaron, you would like to commercial break this around about now?
Yeah. Okay. So I just need a spot where it's quiet so I can
Right.
cut it. So now we can go on to Zavery's next topic.
And that is does technology encourage or discourage artistic ability? I actually think it what does it? Encourages it strictly because I see people get on the computer, draw, type, make stories out of completely nothing. People make games out of scratch. It definitely improves it, in my opinion, but there are some downsides. For example, you don't get the real experience of writing on a piece of paper as you do writing on a computer. It in some ways it does improve it, but also in the real world where you were to paint something on a canvas or on a piece of paper, it kind of limits that because you're used to using a stylus and a screen, really.
So what you're saying is it's less tangible on technology than it would be in person through physical objects.
I believe so, yeah.
So
Okay.
as far so there's you can run the argument, for example, that painting on a screen is not nearly as artistically expressive as painting on a canvas or something like that.
Yep.
I don't think that's true. I think the more mediums an artist has to express themselves, the better. And technology just provides, a couple hundred more of those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't feel like anyone's getting overshadowed or anything. I think overall it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. So for instance, right, because I picked up guitar again, so I'm using my musician stuff and guitar tuner because fuck that, I'm not trying to tune by ear.
You
So
can't. Yeah.
okay, I'm half deaf. Shut up. And so it makes it a lot easier to go back over the basics and as well, tune my shit because I'm fucking, can't apparently. At the same time, it also allows me to make music through MIDIs and Ableton and all that junk. But as for people who draw, I think having the ability to switch between physical and technological helps them kind of keep motivated. Because I know some people get burned out by just doing hand drawings, and
Yeah.
some people don't understand the technology well enough to keep doing it in a consistent rate. And so being able to switch really helps people out.
Yeah. And nowadays, most music produced is mainly from systems like Ableton,
Ableton,
Ableton. Okay. I always had a fucking tough time with it.
Flow Studio, yeah,
Yeah. And
all those.
yeah, most of the music on the radio, or even all of it, is from some type of technology. So it, I believe, in overall, it did encourage the artistic ability
Unfortunately, I
to.
think that's led to crappier music though.
Well,
It's
so
like
it's led to this weird culture where everything that we can just automatically sing to is the most popular thing, even if it doesn't make any sense or any tangible sense for that fact. And so it's led down a terrible path, but it could always fix itself. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Nice reminder.
no, we're all doomed. I'm sorry.
Uh,
Okay, I try to make covert reminders that don't ruin the flow of the show, and you just ruined it. So I'm ruining it harder. We have 15 minutes remaining. You're welcome.
you know what? Just for that, we're gonna extend it a little bit more. David, go ahead and go to your next topic.
All right, so the next little section is religion, because I really don't want to make money ever. So
It's okay. We already made 8 cents, David.
my discussion. I hate you. My discussion question here is from a Christian perspective, should one try to bring others into the faith? So is it okay to
Mm,
go out and try to talk to people and convince them to become Christians?
I think it's okay to have a public or open discussion about what you believe in, just as we did last episode. That being said, there's a difference between trying to persuade and bombarding people. Like if you
Right.
go in the streets of New York, no one wants to hear your freaking crap, right? But if
yeah.
you have a sit down discussion in like a pub or just I don't know, at a grocery store where you're waiting in line and they look friendly, they don't seem like they're in any sort of rush or in a bad mood. Kind of just like, hey, have you heard about blah blah blah. That is
Yeah.
a lot more open than trying to force your crap down their throat.
I believe that by blah 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 you mean our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't know. So I've been kind of conflicted on this recently because I mean I've gone to a few churches recently, and if either of the two people that listened to last podcast are here, um, you know that I don't really subscribe to any particular faith as of right now. But I've gone to a couple churches recently, and it's really welcoming and it's normal and it's conversational for the first little bit, but in my experience it almost immediately turns into trying to um, convince me. I, thank you, Aaron, for typing things. It immediately turns into trying to convince me to join the faith and become part of the church, and I wasn't really ever interested in any of that, and I made it clear from the start. And so I see some of that as slightly toxic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree.
I nowadays people aren't really forcing religion on people. I mean, other than parents, really, but churches themselves. In my opinion, living in the Abilene and Clyde area, I haven't really seen anyone try to say, "Hey, come down to this church" or something. I haven't really had an encounter like that, other than just getting a pamphlet.
Well,
Uh,
so Xavier, you hang out with the wrong crowd for that kind of thing to happen.
oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
My
Um,
bad.
you have to hang around, people who actually live. But on a less criticizing note, I haven't seen it much either. I mean, there's been a few times, but it's not nearly as present as our parents would have gotten,
Yeah.
or
Right.
how even my sister, you know. So I don't know. It's definitely progressed a little bit less, but at the same time, is that really such a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing. For example, you get to choose which church you get to go to. You get to choose what religion. Now I've seen people around me get out of their homes or just further them away from their own religion that their parents have, and I've seen that they've been believing in completely different things that their parents would believe in. Having different opinions about everything in general. For example, abortion, the death sentence. So I believe that now that we progress as a society to where we accept other religions and not really force it down their throats in America, um, that people are kind of accepting that now, really.
Yeah, no. I also think it's cool because the churches are starting to learn to coexist with everything and everyone. Um, and so they're
There's a
less
slight danger
intrusive.
in that, though. I mean, I'm very conflicted on this, because it's one thing I don't want to be indoctrinated, but the other thing is that churches, especially the Christian faith, the values that they instilled in the culture of this country are absolutely foundational. And if churches
Yeah.
keep compromising And if they keep giving away more ground, then eventually those values don't exist.
Yeah.
I have faith in the standard Southern charm in that area, where no matter what, there's always going to be a sense of that kind of godly moral ground, where it's like we know what is actually morally correct. And in my perspective, I don't think the South in particular is going to get rid of that anytime soon. And no matter what, the churches down here are always going to be pretty popular. So the worry would really be the progressive Yankee states, as they continue to progress and get bigger and stuff. It would be um, the loss of religion diversity down there, or up there. Sorry.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's up in the air, honestly.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we're at about 8.5, 9 minutes now, so we'll move on to the personal life section. Does anyone have any book suggestions for people in quarantine?
If you can get a hold of it, I would say Nation by Terry Pratchett. Still one of my favorite books. God
And what's the
Almighty,
author
is
on
that a
that?
good book? Terry Pratchett. I just said that.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
God, listen. It's a really good book. Girl gets stranded on an island. She finds this native, and they hit it off. They survive. She gets taken away, and then boom. I'm not gonna give away too much of the story, but it's pretty great. It's really,
Okay.
really immersive for sure.
Xavier, what about you?
So, hands down, one of my favorite movies and books. I read the book after I saw the movie, and it's exactly the same, honestly. It's The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
It's a
I
good
fuck
movie.
with this book. I fuck with it. It's about a
Um,
teenager, Charlie, who was he homeschooled? He was homeschooled, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was homeschooled. So it's kind of like David. He was homeschooled for a bit, went into the high school career, kind of the low end, and then he meets two magical friends that carry him on for an adventure. And yeah, it
Of
turns to the dark at the end, and I'm not gonna say it,
drugs.
but drugs. Yeah, it's a romantic comedy, action drama, horror,
I
sci-fi
think he's just
fiction
throwing
movie.
buzzwords in.
He is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
throwing
It's
buzzwords.
it's
There's no horror in it.
a romantic drama, really. That's
It's a romantic comedy. Just call it what it is.
yeah, romantic
Rom-com. Yeah,
comedy
okay.
drama. Yeah, but
Rom-comma,
give it
as
give
I
it
like to
Okay,
say.
David.
give it a
David, you got any books?
I do actually, and Aaron, you're not gonna like this.
Oh
So
God, Harry Potter.
I I am about halfway through this book. It is called Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. No, it's interesting because usually I wouldn't recommend a feminist propaganda book, but this one's just slightly different. Um, from the get-go, she immediately dissociates herself from the oppression Olympics, which is basically saying, well, I have more intersectionality points than you, and therefore I'm more oppressed, and therefore I deserve more in life, and things like that. A lot of it is analysis of different books and shows and movies that she's seen, things about first wave feminism and second wave feminism. And while she calls herself a quote bad feminist, she also dissociates herself from the leaders of feminism that often turn people away from what she views as what it should really be. So it's certainly an interesting book. I don't agree with probably about 70% of it, but I think it's good to expose yourself to other viewpoints. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. On a less political side of that, The Giver. That's a classic. Recommend reading it at least once. There were some parts I didn't like. There was a few parts that I did like. No matter what, it's always good to dip your toes in some dystopian sci-fi. So go for that.
There you go.
Do we have anything else?
That's it for me.
Anything else? Okay, so quick checkup. How's quarantine going?
I still want to die. But
Okay.
on a brighter note of that, I'm alive. So Zavery.
Well, you view it as a bright note, so that's an improvement.
I went to Walmart and I almost joked around, faked cough. Then I was like, I don't want to get shot. So I mean, it's actually bringing out more.
Middle of Yeehaw conservative Texas tries to make a coughing joke in the middle of pandemic. It's like, no, you're.
we don't do that here. It's actually, I don't know. It's bringing out more of my hobbies that I never thought I would enjoy.
I
For
feel that.
example, I do like playing games. I mean, you probably know that about me.
That's not a new hobby.
But I've been playing guitar, singing, listening to more country music now because you can't drink without country music.
Dear God.
No, but I'm looking at the positives about the situation, trying to just keep my head up about it all. It's really about me. Yeah.
David.
Well, there you go. No, I agree. I have been expanding my hobbies, I guess. For the first time ever, my room is consistently clean. And so that's mostly a good thing. I play on the Xbox a little bit more. I've read a lot more. I just recently attempted to sew a stuffed mouse. It looks terrible, but I'll get better.
That
So,
that attitude right there is why I keep you.
that's why you what?
That's why I keep you as a friend.
Well,
Not
I
because
appreciate that.
not because you're funny or you have like a good character. It's just because
Right.
you just push on.
Yeah.
Unless I don't. I stayed up until 4 a.m. and missed one of my classes this morning.
Yeah, it's because you're an idiot.
So it's like sometimes I push on and sometimes I'm just a lazy sack.
So I just need to recommend this one more time. During this quarantine, it's always a good idea to stay healthy in both your mental health and your physical health. So if you
I
need,
gotta make sure we get the brownie points for saying things about mental and physical health.
shut up. If you need a physical health hookup,
Oh, do not use this to advertise yourself.
I am promoting myself. Follow me on Instagram at Kapui, and I will send you a workout plan, and you can start your path, and you'll look good by the time this quarantine's over.
And if anyone wants to come to me for mental health, the promo code is SCAM. That is SCAM.
Okay,
Scam.
no, but I'm doing it for free. There's no catch to it. I'm just giving you fucking workout plans. All right, fuck you.
Right, and all you have to do is pay this small fee to get it for free. So just a light loan of $3,000, and I will hook you up with all of the best mental health
Small
advice
loan of $1
and
million.
feminist propaganda. All right, so this podcast has gone to hell. I think I think we're about to end here. So thank you to people for listening.
Correction, it is 8. All right, it's
I
not
guess
2.
we'll end it there.
All right, we're
So,
gonna end it right
kill
there.
Craig. We're done with Craig.
Just give me a second. I gotta.